This is Cleanup Squad, a multiplayer co-op game I'm working on as a solo developer. In this game you're gonna be able to do everything you hate doing in real life. Picking up trash, mopping floors, doing dishes and hanging out with your friends.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
You might be thinking, that sounds like it kinda sucks jazz. And you'd be right, except it's a video game. Video games make everything fun, right? This game that I want to make is highly inspired by Overcooked's chaotic gameplay. I mean, what's more fun than just screaming at your friends for seemingly the easiest tasks? And what is more satisfying than solving a problem together? My question is, so what would happen if I combine this game style with the satisfying gameplay of Car Wash Simulator or House Flipper? Let's find out! I started working on a very basic prototype in Unreal and started imitating the look of the Overcooked gameplay, but with cleaning mechanics. I first made it with the third-person overview of the gameplay, but quickly realized that this was not really the direction I wanted to go for. I decided to switch the camera perspective to first person very early on. I added physics-based objects, mechanics for picking up and throwing objects to be able to get rid of the trash. All of this worked immediately, as is usually the case with game development. However, I realized there was a problem early on with the gameplay. I want some levels to look really disgusting, with piles of trash everywhere, like a house after a crazy party with foods, cups, and trash everywhere. But picking up trash after trash after trash and throwing them one at a time basically just like sucks. So what can we do to make this more fun? I don't know. Upgrades maybe? So an example of this would be like picking up the trash. Then you would be able to get a trash bag so you could collect your trash somewhere before throwing it out. Then you could get a net to pick up several pieces of trash at a time. And my favorite item so far is this suspiciously hidden from out of sight object right here. I guess you'll have to wait until later in the video to find out what it is, Yeah, so once I had finished that, I immediately started working on another cleaning mechanic. The mopping. I made it so that you can use the mop to remove stains around the level. And I then added the first improvement to that. A bucket. Yeah. With the bucket you can clean a lot more without having to run back and forth to the sink. But just be careful. You don't want to spill it or you'll have a big mess again. Now that we have some game mechanics. So I started working on a concept for the art style of the game. And for this, I was heavily inspired by games like Ooblets and Animal Crossing for their cute and colorful characters and style. I made my own cartoony character in Blender and added him to Unreal. Yeah, look at this, he's cute as fuck. Also, back in August last year, I made a video about how I make my 3D models in Blender. The models made in that video were actually for this game. So I made a level with these and I started working on the lighting and shaders to get more of a cartoony look to the game. At first I had all of my models in this weird mix of super realistic lighting with Unreal Engine's new lighting system, but I also had these really cartoonish characters and it all just looked very weird. So I worked on a shader to get a more stylized look, but that ended up being way too much. At that point you couldn't distinguish objects from each other, so in the end I made a mix of the two and finally settled with this, except I increased the contrast and saturation, and the result I'm actually very happy with. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Now that I have this art, I realized that sky is also looking very weird, and it just doesn't fit the style. So I gave my own version a go by making this weird looking texture, slapped it on a sphere and made it huge. Whoops! I forgot to remove the collisions of the spheres, so the whole level exploded. Let's do something about that. Yeah, that's much better. However, I'm not really happy with it because the clouds got a bit distorted, but don't have time to fix it right now. Multiplayer. One of the cores to this game is just having fun with your friends. I mean, to achieve this, first, you need your friends. Where are they? Well, not here. Could they be hiding here? Perhaps behind the couch? No, that's right, they don't exist. Anyway, if I ever find some, I decided that it would be a good idea to set up multiplayer. I did a little programming dibble-dabble, and just like that I had a main menu where you could host and join servers. Also, you have a lobby where you can select character and map and start a level. And yeah, I know it looks like shit, but we'll fix all of that later. The important thing is that it works. I mean, it sort of works. It works half of the time. Oh yeah, I rewrote the code I had made previously, so it now works with more players. Look at this is cool. They can now throw trash to each other. I mean, what? It's hard, okay? Game development is hard. Okay, so at some time in January, in the midst of me moving to my new house and having less time to work on the game, I decided that I would have some second thoughts about the game. What if this game was too difficult to make, I said to myself. What if I'm not good enough and I'll just be wasting my time for several months on this game? So instead of continuing, I did what is called a pro gamer move, and I started working on a new game. Yeah, super smart. I made this highly realistic, very much more difficult game to make for the following 5 months with constant struggles for my computer to even run the damn thing, while I was also having to wait an hour every time Unreal started up. So now, in May, I finally decided that maybe the cleaning game wasn't that hard to make. Yeah, I'm now back to working on the Cleanup Squad game, and this little sidetrack is partially related to the long time since I last uploaded a video. Anyways, since then, I decided just add a few small things so that I can prepare making a Steam page for the game. I made some new models for a city level, threw together in a prototype just to be able to show off some different environments. I then also made a prototype for this item that I mentioned in the beginning. It's called a trash sucky uppy gunny, you know? It just sucks up trash. And it's actually super fun to just clean up levels with this thing, and then you can launch it into bins. So another thing I got really tired of was looking at this ugly ass model of the mop. I'll tell you what, making a cool mop is hard. I made a new 3D model and started adding physics to it to make it look more real. This caused some small problems, like the mop spinning forever and the strands falling through the map, but finally I managed to get it to look like this. An upgrade from the previous, I would say, but it's whatever, you know.
It's up to me if you liked it or even if you didn't, please.
So I tested to see what it looks like when the player holds it. I mean, this is just a prototype, but it looks kind of cool, I would say. Finally, the last thing I had to add before making this video was adding ragdolls. I mean, it is basically obligatory to add ragdolls at this point if you have the option. I made it, and then I got this really funny bug. Look at him. He just becomes smaller, but his limbs just increase in size. I don't know why this happens, but it looks weird. I fixed that though, and now we have a fully functioning ragdoll, which I plan to use as a game mechanic in the future, but that will have to wait for another video. Anyways, I've done a bunch of other things that are too boring to show in this video, but the game is making progress. I hope that the game is up on Steam before I make this video, so give it a wishlist if it's in the description. Yeah. If you're interested in seeing what I did last year, check this video out. Ciao!